Welcome to Kenpo University. My name is Alan Babinick, and I'm your instructor. We're going to talk about the takedown on Dance of Death. A lot of times when I've taught people or I see people going through, as they take the person down, they get like yanked forward, okay? Where they're getting pulled forward when they take somebody down. So I want to show you how to get around that. And one of the other major problems that I see. And when you're doing Dance of Death, it's always two steps. It's step up and parry, and then pivot and you're hitting up with that Ridgehand. I always see everybody hitting away with the Ridgehand. Well, if you hit the guy away, how easy is it going to be to take him down if he's 3 feet away from you, right? So you're not trying to hit him away. You're hitting up with that Ridgehand. So starting over again. So it's going to be step up and parry. So you're in your neutral, and then drop to your close kneel almost with your ridge, because you can't hit up to the groin unless you're lower than they are. So it's got to be hit up to the groin. One of the major problems that I see is people going all at the same time like this. Well, this is going this way and this is going this way. You're countering yourself. You're going against your own body mechanics. You can't do that. So it's got to be one, then two. It's very, very fast, and sometimes it looks like it's just one thing, but it's one, then two. So if I'm standing facing you, it's one, then two. Now, I've seen Dance of Death done a bunch of different ways, okay? Most of the time when we're working with Mr. Planis, he likes us to do the knee lift version, which is the fastest and the least number of moves to the takedown, all right? And that's why we like that one, because it's the fastest one, least number of moves. I've seen it done a couple different ways. I'm going to go over the timings that I've seen, and if you do it a different way, that's fine. It doesn't really make a difference, but my explanation why they shouldn't fall away from you should make sense no matter what version you do. So I'm going to do the knee lift version first. So, because it's going to set us up for everything else. So, guys throwing a right step through punch at me, I step off, I parry, I ridge. This foot, it can't come off the ground. You have to keep this in check, keep his arm in check, slide forward, and then lift up underneath his thigh. And then if you can't grab your knee, because his leg is on top right there, so if you can't grab your knee, you're not going to have his leg, okay? So it's parry, ridge, slide this foot up, lift, and take the guy down. When you take the guy down, he's not going to be straight at 12 o'clock. You're going to be taking him down probably more towards 10:30. And that's almost with any version that we do, all right? Every once in a while, you might get somebody falling a little odd or something and going to 12 o'clock, but he's always going to be falling to 10:30, not 12. Now, the important thing here, when you did the knee lift version, as I slide and lift his leg up, and I've got his leg is up, okay? So when we do all these other versions that we're trying to do, we have to get to the leg up and then elbow, all right? Important point. You got to get the leg up, then elbow, all right? So I'm going to go a little bit sideways. One of the other versions that I've seen done or that I like to do is step up, parry, ridge. I'm still ridging up. Push the arm down into this is kind of like, even though at Orange we don't know Reigning Lance, where this is pointed, this is in his groin. So if I slide his arm down, his hand hits him in the groin, okay? So they don't know the technique in Orange, but I like to do it that way. So you hit the guy in the groin, then you could step forward, grab his knee, and again, here's the important bit. Start picking the leg up first, then take the guy down. And you're still going to end up taking him to 10:30, all right? So, but it's almost no matter what version you do, you have to start picking that leg up. He's got to be coming up like this, so that the pivot point, when you take the guy down, the pivot point should be the hips. So when you pick his knee up, he's going to pivot around his hips and he's going to fall right there, okay? Especially when you're doing that elbow, he falls right there. If, and this is where all the mistakes come in, and I'm going to do it this way again. I step up, I parry, I ridge. If I step forward, no matter which version you're doing, you grab his knee. If you start to push here, I've grabbed his knee and I'm pushing his upper body. The pivot point for the takedown isn't the hips anymore. The pivot point becomes the knee. Now, if the pivot point's the knee, he's going to fall away from you. So you're trying to hold on to the knee, you do the elbow, he starts falling that way. He is going to yank you forward. And that's why you're going to get yanked forward on Dance of Death if you don't pick up the leg first. All right? You don't have to have it all the way up, but get it up and then elbow, and wherever that elbow points is where he's going. So if I'm doing it facing you, I'm going to do the push down version. So it's going to be parry ridge. I push this arm down into him. I step forward. I grab his knee. When I start picking this up, if I go that way, see how my elbow is pointing pretty much straight towards you? He's going to fall that way. And again, I'll get dragged forward. If I start pulling his leg up and I go get down there, and I point my elbow straight down towards the ground, guess where he falls? There. And then I don't get yanked forward, and I can do my back knuckle finger slice or whip, whatever you do there. All right? So this is one of those techniques I've seen it done a lot of different ways. If it works for you, great. So whichever version you're doing, that works great. The knee lift is the least amount of moves. Even if you do it a little bit different, who cares? But if you're getting pulled forward, you just have to pick that leg up first and then point your elbow down at the ground towards your feet. And then they're going to pivot on the hips. That'll be the pivot point. And then I generally try to smash their head into the ground. So when I pick up their leg and I do my elbow, I'm trying to go and get their head smashed into the ground right there. And then, hey, maybe I don't have to do the rest of the technique, you know? So, but that's why that pull happens. And you want to make sure you're hitting up with the Ridgehand, bunch of different things. One of these days I'll actually teach this technique. But for right now, that's how to solve that problem of being pulled forward. Thank you for watching this video production from Kenpo University.